Alright, welcome back to my series on Bulgaria. I'm now here in Veliko Tarnovo, which is one of the most fascinating cities in Bulgaria, and it's probably the most historic one as well, because this was the former capital of Bulgaria. The first Tsars of Bulgaria made this their capital, and they built quite an impressive fortress, and we're going to check out Veliko Tarnovo today. Let's have a look. Hi, and welcome to Veliko Tarnovo in beautiful Bulgaria. The city is the next stop of my road trip through Central Bulgaria. Veliko Tarnovo Bulgaria is a historic city in north-central Bulgaria, located directly on the Yantra River, a 3-hour drive from the capital Sofia. Tarnovo was a stronghold of the First Bulgarian Empire, but it is most famously known as the historical capital of the Second Bulgarian Empire, which began with the uprising of Asen and Peter in 1185. Tarnovo is also called the city of the Tsars. Many say it is one of the most beautiful places in Bulgaria, and you may agree after watching this video. So, in this Bulgaria 4K video, I'm going to take you on a video walking tour through this beautiful and historic place in Eastern Europe. It's not a very large city, and the best way to explore it is on foot. The narrow medieval streets make it quite challenging to drive through. When you come to Veliko Tarnovo, the best place to stay is in the old town, in one of the many beautifully remodeled guest houses. I stayed in the perhaps most famous street, Gorko Street, named after the Russian general who liberated the city from Ottoman rule in 1878. Check out the view from my balcony. And this is also where we're going to start our walking tour. The old part of this very beautiful city is situated on 3 hills that feature the palaces of the Bulgarian emperors and the Patriarchate, the Patriarchal Cathedral, many churches and historic residences of the nobility. The hilly situation forces you to do quite a bit of up and downhill walking, but it's all part of the experience. Check out the beautiful old town houses, some of which have been turned into museums. Let's continue our walk down towards the semi-island formed by the Yantra River. If you want to see history in Eastern Europe, Veliko Tarnovo is a perfect place. The town is one of the oldest settlements in Bulgaria, with a history of more than 5,000 years. The first traces of human presence date back to the 3rd millennium BC. During the Middle Ages, the town was among the main European centers of culture and was the most important political, economic, cultural, and religious center of the Bulgarian Empire. It was a very cosmopolitan city, with many foreign merchants and envoys, and Armenian, Jewish, and Roman Catholic merchant quarters. The Ottoman Empire captured the city in 1393, after a 3-month-long siege. But the Bulgarian resistance against Ottoman rule remained centered in Tarnovo until the end of the 17th century. But Tarnovgrad, along with the rest of present-day Bulgaria, remained under Ottoman rule until 1876, when the April uprising marked the beginning of the Russian-Turkish War, which lasted from 1877 to 1878 and ended in Bulgaria's liberation after close to 500 years of Ottoman rule. Today, Veliko Tarnovo is the center of one of the largest urban areas in Bulgaria, and the city and its surroundings have become the home of the largest foreign expat community in Bulgaria. It's a major tourist magnet, and in 2019 the city was declared the historical and spiritual capital of Bulgaria. It's clearly one of the major historic cities in Eastern Europe. Some parts of the city are a bit in decay. The brutalist architectural style hotel in the city center has clearly seen better days and is now closed. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets torn down soon, since it's become a bit of an eyesore. I'm crossing Stambolov Bridge, an arch bridge from 1897, to get to our next landmark, the Asen monument. Alright, I'm now here at the peninsula that is created by the Yantra River, that it kind of separates the old town, which you'll see over here, from the newer part of Veliko Tarnovo over here. And I think the biggest thing here on this peninsula is the Asen monument. This major monument in the city center is dedicated to the Asen dynasty. After leading an uprising against the Byzantine rulers in the late 12th century, the three brothers, Peter, Ivan, and Kaloyan Asen, found this major dynasty in Bulgaria, which ruled the country for several decades, a time now referred to as the Second Bulgarian Empire. They initially called themselves emperor, but later changed their title to Tsar. The Asen dynasty monument was built in 1985 to celebrate 800 years since the brothers designated the city as their capital. The monument is a huge sword surrounded by statues of the first four Asen rulers. From here, you get a fantastic view of the old town. So this is a really cool place, and I highly recommend you come here when you come to Veliko Tarnovo. I can't help but notice that I hardly see any people, and the only explanation that I have for that is that it's a super hot day today. Must be one of the hottest days in the year, and so I think people prefer to just stay indoors. Let's head back up the hill to another major highlight of Veliko Tarnovo, the Tsarevets Fortress. During the time of the Second Bulgarian Empire, in the 12th century, Tsarevets Fortress was the most important castle in Bulgaria. The impressive stronghold is incredibly well preserved. It's an absolute must-see when you're here. You can see the fortified walls, the medieval palace of the Bulgarian kings, and the patriarchal complex with its library, monk cells, scriptorium, and the Patriarchal Cathedral St. Asen. In its heyday, this vast fortress comprised more than 400 residential houses, about 20 churches, and 4 monasteries. Entrance to the fortress is 10 lev, which is about $6 or €5. So pretty affordable, and you really get to explore the entire fortress, which is huge. This thing is humongous. Not everything's still completely visible because much of this fortress is in ruins, but there are still some renovated parts that can be visited. Today's a hot day and it's quite a steep walk up here. So I'm looking forward to find some shade. Let's have a look at the historic fortress here, and I'm going to go up that hill now. Built directly on top of a late Roman basilica, the Cathedral St. Asen, also known as the mother of all Bulgarian churches, used to be the seat of the Patriarch of Bulgaria from the late 11th century until the Ottomans destroyed it in 1393. Although the church's ruins have been a national monument since 1927, renovations only began in 1978. The reconstruction was finished in 1981, which marked the 1300th anniversary of Bulgaria. Opened to the public in 1985, the interior today is a bit more modern looking. It's an interesting design, but in my humble opinion does not quite compare to the beautiful artistry which can be seen in other Bulgarian churches and monasteries, such as Rila Monastery for example, which I'm covering in another video. there is so much more to see in Veliko Tarnovo, such as the beautiful old churches, many more museums, and even an evening sound and light show when you come here on Saturdays. But it's been a super hot day, one of the hottest days of the year, which I found out later, so I call it a day and leave you with some closing impressions of this amazing city. Definitely also check out my video on the swing of Veliko Tarnovo, which is another amazing walk I did here. I hope you enjoyed this 4K travel video of Veliko Tarnovo, Bulgaria, which is such a cool city to see in Eastern Europe. Please also check out my other travel videos on beautiful Bulgaria and many other amazing travel destinations. I'm always looking forward to hearing from you, so please leave me a comment and a like down below. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye bye.